Starting lineup, JC, Kane, Diana, Ashe, Thresh up against Nasus, Vi, Yasuo, Jinx, Lux. Rating of the picks for a lower ranked game. JC as a top, 5. Kane in the jungle, 5. Diana as a mid, 3. Ashe as a shooter, 6. Thresh in support, 7. Nasus as a top, 8. Vi in the jungle, 8. Yasuo as a mid, 9. Lux in support, 6. You're in this game. A complete clash between technicality and skill, and really the type of game that can be very tough on the emotions, as it's perfectly possible to look at this lineup and promise yourself things and imagine things that may not per se come true. The essence of unpredictability in League. And just a lot of people who want to show it off, a lot of people who want a lot of cosmetics and a lot of looks. But sometimes you don't shine in the way that you want to. Gotta deal with that. Life is tough. Get a helmet. Play some more League, baby. Moving on. I have here some of that early fencing featuring Lux in this game, and I'm really gonna be the setup guy more than anything throughout the rest. We have this young girl up against this boy in the mid, Yasuo, Diana respectively. That Thresh really a late starter, he got Damnation. The more that he kills, the more that he starts scaling. That really adds up in late game. You see very little of that early on. Thresh in that way a lot like Jinx, you should really give him a break in the beginning. Which all of those late game champs are much more difficult for chaotic, low tier environments because of the fact that everybody judges you in the first 3 minutes or so, and nobody trusts each other. So if you play something like Jinx or Thresh that has so much problems getting started, you're always going to be at a higher risk of being considered incapable based on the first impressions. Eventually, this Thresh reaching out with that death sentence signature hook ability, as this Lux and in support, obviously it's your job to give me some cover on those pulls and to extend in such a way that forces Thresh back. That is not done here. This Lux being played by an Italian girl, like is so frequently the case. I am really supporting her more than anything with the constant stun pistol and the constant slows from my second spell. Once I'm dead, there is nothing more to hold them back from killing Lux as well. Display a bit of a showcase of how exactly not to use Sweeping Blade. This Yasuo going up and down like an elevator. This Yasuo going up and down like the stock prices. Going up and down like the temperature. The temperature can increase and decrease throughout the day or seasonally. Up and down and up and down. The running off to Narnia thing, if I see it happen 100 times, 99 times, it goes wrong. You either do not retreat, or you retreat directly to a turret. You don't retreat into the jungle. We're gonna have this Vi in every way, the wrong technique and the wrong items to assassinate like this on a low health Diana. If you want to use Vi in this way, you have to level her, master her, and specifically get the right items for her to be assassinate ready. Vi is not an example of a champ who can just go DPS wise. If you don't support her with DPS items that are appropriate, it will never work. And what you got here is a small miracle, and a lot of the fact that Vi is just overall slightly overpowered because they want you to buy Vi merch, and they want to inspire girls like Z, Phoenix, Pro, Z, In order to get them motivated to play League, they make a bunch of these very strong women like Vi, put them in the game like that, and make sure that they're in no way underpowered. Which is why today's Vi is a very, very forgiving pick. We have this French girl playing Kane because naturally it's League. So here we go, it's like a dating show. And this Kane player will actually demonstrate a lot of capacity for strategical assessment throughout this game, which I'll be damned. Why not? Get a little bit of the taste of the strategical acumen of a French peasant girl. If you live a long life, you will see all sorts of things. A lot of the CC on Diana. This Yasuo player, no intention whatsoever of adapting, and just wants to do her own thing and just kind of go off and build Yasuo. But that doesn't really work when you have massive damage that has to be mitigated. In the end, among all the people in this game, the only person who will surprise this Diana player is myself, because you will be stuck on the anti-magic protection that I have on, which of course nobody else bothered with. This JC player going to spend this entire game slowly whittling down Nasus, which of course takes a million years to do. Really the fifth wheel, definitely the biggest chance that we had as a team in this game to turn things around. This Anwar person playing this JC stuck in the Baldur's Gate disease of just wanting to go off somewhere and experience your own fantasy. You're going to hit the pavement hard, of course, doing that in League of Legends. And of course with Nasus, as the game progresses, that first spell becomes incredibly powerful in the Siphoning Strike, and you're going to have progressively less and less success playing this game against Nasus. And naturally, the amount of risks you can take on this JC with your range are significantly reduced every time that Wither comes in, which takes away your usual kiting game. This Cebullo, an Italian girl, 30-something minutes of funneling money to the enemy. Lux, so far the only champ that is popular with Italians, that does not revolve around genocide or tremendous evil. And the only thing going through my mind at this time is like, what does this look like when you're actually playing with regular Jinx players? Because naturally I play Jinx more as a kind of caster, and I'm continuously spamming the zap button. I use my stun pistol essentially as much as I use my auto attacks. But it's gotta be funny if you have just a Jinx player with you who goes all in with the machine gun, because I imagine that you're not gonna get away like this if I don't constantly stun the enemy. And the collection of missed skill shots on Team Red with the flare of this Lux player combined will end up having this Ashe player survive everything and anything, and really a freebie of a game for this player, which is unfortunate because you're just giving a guy whose ego is completely out of control in this Ashe player a terrific excuse to keep up his behavior. And this is gonna be one of the first games where Ashe really reaches a point where skill shots no longer really matter. She ends up going the Yone route in the way that players typically want to see but so rarely get to see. This is perhaps the second time in my life that I've seen the carry potential of like an Ashe, in terms of the ability to scale with items. stacked reminiscent of Giovanni delle Bandiere, and we're going to get gangbanged here on the turret, because why not? Up top, we end up with this 2-on-2 and me attempting the ult. This 2-on-2, the reason of my typical introductions with the rating system. Kayn and JC really in many ways have a clever play by itself, unironically here, but this is just the story of the character selection screen, and no amount of talent can really bridge the gap between Vi and Kayn. You have some champs who are naturally good and dominant in Nasus and Vi on Team Red, and you have some champs who are typically underpowered in JC and Kayn here. And just eating that raw stat differential. Eventually, this Nasus player will wander off and get himself killed, so the top towers will come down, also known as the top turrets. And I'm gonna be nice in this review, but you gotta say, that's really pretty damn embarrassing. Maybe I was originally gonna say that we had one real player and that it was this Nasus player, but maybe, perhaps, possibly, if you get destroyed by this JC in the top lane as Nasus, maybe I shouldn't really give you the compliment and the benefit of the doubt. I really don't know how you lose in a lane-pushing battle with Nasus up against JC, but here we are, and we have Jinx who has to defend the top lane. This is about the time that this Z Phoenix Pro, Z, the hot shawty, will leave game. At this point, she's going 0-7 on the schöne Farben Yasuo. We're gonna get a little bit of delightful theater as well, with me ultimately ending up putting an end to the streak of this Diana player who has been farming the entire team because the entire team did not get magic protection. In the end, it's going to take an ambush featuring myself to beat up this JC who's now just being hit from all sides. And this is something that the character is not at all suited for in any way, shape, or form. But pretty pathetic that it had to come to that, and that we couldn't just outplay him in any way, apparently. If I had to look at the synergy for this Team Blue, we would have to say, AC, you have Diana on here, who can only succeed if she receives magical snowballing all the way up front, which happened to be the case here. You have this Ashe, who is just like almost any other Ashe player, wildly overvaluing her own killing potential and her own toughness. Ashe is typically a bad pick in the amateurs, not so much because she doesn't have potential, because of course she has massive potential, but the reason why Ashe is typically bad is because people play her like Rambo, or like Jason Statham. Because she looks really cool, doesn't she? And of course that is the opposite of what you should do with Ashe. Ashe should be played even more carefully than Jinx, if possible. Which makes her a very bad pick because nobody does that kind of thing. Nobody's interested in that in the amateurs. We have this Kayn, who is by nature and by default underpowered. Both JC and Kayn are champs that look unbelievably appealing, and you just want to sleep with them and you just want to make babies with them. They are visual darlings, and even without a skin on, JC and Kayn look better than most champions with special cosmetics, because they are naturally that good looking by by default, but there is very little to them substance-wise. So you end up with probably this Thresh person or this Thresh character being the least frail on Team Blue, and just an absolute boundless embarrassment, and definitely a game that hurt me deeply because I really value my own pick system and rating system, and you better believe that in the beginning of this game, I was saying consistently to myself, there is no way that we will ever lose this. If we look at the natural synergy and the team comp of Team Red, we would have to say an A, which really tells you everything you need to know about these individual people. This is an A pick. Nasus is not my favorite top laner, as many will know, but he is exactly the type and the kind of champion that works extremely well in the casuals and the amateurs, where so many people are looking for health and armor the way desert tribes are looking for water. We have this Vi, who is one of the very few champs that is an ultra pro pick, much like Ashe, really as professional a pick as you can make, and very frequently that does not work well in the amateurs, because the requirements and the needs are completely different. But Vi is the rare exception to the rule, because they like very masculine women in the league development team. Then we have this Yasuo, a naturally brilliant pick, super hard to kill, super tough, but people always find a way. The only mediocre pick here is Lux in support, which can still technically work. So that is an A, that is as good a team as you're going to get. Pick-wise. Looking then into the individual players, we would have to say, the way this JC played, this Anwar person, in all likelihood Muslim residing in Belgium or the Netherlands, we would have to say an A. This person was as unselfish as possible, never ever complained, continuously pushed his own lane, played the objective the entire time. He beat out Nasus in a laning matchup. He prevented funneling money to the enemy team. You got Muramune and Shojin, very responsible items, and you ended up going 1 and 3. But this is typically the kind of pressure that you need from a top laner. Taking a look at this French peasant girl playing Kayn, you went 3 and 4 with 11 assists. You went Eclipse. Again, Kayn does not have the ability to trigger Eclipse. We would have to say an A. You made plays all over the map, and you're the definition of a team player. You also never complained. We look at this Diana, a person with a higher level understanding, and clearly an experienced gamer. You went 16 and 4. On an extremely difficult champ. You never complained, you only took responsible risks. We would have to say your behavior an A. It's not a perfect A, because in the end you could have played the objective a little bit more, and it's not really great behavior to start stunting and showing off when you're in a position to just win the game. If we have to look at this Ashe, we would have to say a B, a bit of a team wrecker in the pings, but you did everything that a shooter is supposed to do. In practice, Ashe is a very irresponsible and dangerous pick, but you made sure that you knew what you were doing before you started on her. It's also very smart to start playing Ashe when you're already very experienced, as this player was. We have here this trash, a B, you went 5 and 2 and 8. You were definitely looking out for your own KDA at some point in the game more than anything, but you picked very clever items, and one could tell that you had come to a kind of resolve that allowed you to really enjoy playing support. If we have to look at this Nasus player, I'll give him an A, but bro, you got beat up by JC and kicked out of your own lane, and that's by far the best player we had. You went 2 and 4, you refused to give up. If we look at this Vi, we would have to say a B, and really as low of a B as you can get. At the very least, you kept going and you didn't really cry that much. You're going Trinity, Plated Steel Caps, and Sunderer. With your kind of technique, you're trying to make Vi fail at this point. Vi is very hard to bring down, but you're getting it done. It's also inherent to a certain demographic, shall we say, that very rarely plays jungler, that you have just a complete lack of shame about not getting us a single buff. It always bewilders me as an experienced jungler to see other people get away with that. I know people would never let me get away with it. We then have this Yasuo player. You quit about 25 minutes in. You went 0 and 7. That is as clear-cut a C as you will ever see, and one of the worst players that I've ever played with in my life. There is no question about it. My flip-flopping has allowed me to clearly see the mid and the bottom are the two problematic positions. The support is frequently good, the top is frequently good, the jungler is frequently good. That's why it doesn't make that much sense to play those positions. You should, if you want to get out of Iron, you should force yourself into mid and bottom positions as a player so that you can avoid this kind of human debris screwing up your matchups. We have this Lux player, speaking of human debris. A C, you went 0 and 13. And just funneling more cash to the enemy team than Giovanni Falcone. And just a bigger cash funnel than the Sicilian Mafia Cosa Nostra. Essentially half of what the enemy had is what you purchased them by dying. Yeah, we just always see this complete disconnect, like, listen, I don't know what you're trying to get at. You're an Italian girl, you put Lux in a pajama. She's a frail blonde girl, known for her looks and her long-range spells. Like, why would you want to go in and just face tank everything? I don't know where you would get that ID. What was it that made you think that Lux could just absorb damage? This game kind of a little bit proof of a growing love relationship between me and Jinx. It becomes obvious that I just enjoy the pacing enough that I can completely get immersed in the character. And I am detached from whatever goes on around me. These are setup games. It's worth noting once again, clearly visible in the profile. Vi, a teenage girl. Yasuo, a teenage girl. Lux, a teenage girl. Once again, I wonder, are you serious about Ranked League? I was in public spaces with teenage girls throughout my life, several times. I've never ran into teenage girls that were deeply about League and ranking up. You know, there are other game modes. There are other types of game mode that you can go into. You don't have to play competitive. You don't have to play a kind of game mode that forces you to be as hardcore and stat aware as possible. But this very much reminds me of what I said in Jinx episode 2. It's just treated as a kind of tutorial mode. And whatever is the highest that you can get into for free without any kind of payment or any kind of entry ticket or entry cost will just become the go-to for everyone. And so the pool of Iron 4 is literally anybody at all. And that's how you get this. At that point, it's almost like flipping a coin as to whether you're ever gonna advance or not. The best you can do is just go on an old journey like I did and make sure that you're not doing what I did all the way in the beginning, which is playing Talon and playing Wukong, replacing positions that are usually already good and solid. And we're already doing that. We're already playing the right positions to be successful in. This is typically where people screw up. With this kind of setup, this Jinx should have gone 1 and 9. Instead, she went 9 and 5. Little bit of a difference there. Had the biggest pile of cash out of anyone on my team, and that with only 79 minion kills. So there you go. Taking a look at the scoreboard here, we have here Iceborne and Thornmail, two of my favorite items. Frequently, you're better off first going AD and then immediately patching up the other side, rather than stacking massive AD first, meaning anti-AD. You want to be, as the British boys used to tell me when I was but a fledgling, well-rounded. We have here Z Phoenix Pro Z, the woman who starts out with shoes, not a shopping mall, not a prom, a video game. Laning, starting out with shoes is a very unmasculine thing to do. It basically says to your enemy, I don't respect you enough to get a real item to defend against you. We're gonna have the pitfall here at the point where you simply struggle to find a nearby tower for this Diana. We're gonna go way too far in. Out here, this is a real death, a reasonable death. And this is also a reasonable death. But so here you put yourself in a position where you couldn't have possibly retreated, and here you're going in way too deep, which is just brazen. When we look at this mid to mid comp, we see here how the money flow, as the black people of the day would say. We have here the comp with the darling Vi. You see here that difficulty in farming. Vi is a champ that I played more than anyone. Very much a technical affair. Kind of feels like you're driving a dump truck the entire time. Only really intended to have the technicality as functionality and nothing more. We have here Nasus, and you see just the consequences of taking on that responsibility of really tanking. Because naturally that will take away some of your farm speed, which is why, as my boxing teachers used to tell me when I was but a fledgling, it's better to go the golden in between, the middle of the road, right? You want to get tanky, yes, way more tanky than the average player, yes, but you probably shouldn't go completely balls to the wall on that either. After you're about 3 items in, Ruined King would not be out of place, just to get some farm speed going. Moving on.
30 seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
I'm crazy. Got a doctor's note. Reasons. Let's just start shooting. Come on. What's the worst that could happen?
An ally has been slain.
Banish the shadows.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed. Enemy rampage.
Ask me if I'm listening.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Enemy double kill. An enemy is unstoppable. Your turret has been destroyed.
Now where was I?
enemy has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed.
Jinx? Stands for Jinx. Banish the shadows.
An ally has been slain.
Any last words? No, just die. Everybody, panic!
An ally has been slain. Have been slain.
You think I'm crazy? You should see my sister.
An ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed. You have slain an enemy. Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
By the light!
An ally has been slain.
I really need a new gun. But don't tell my other guns. let's just behave.
An enemy has been slain.